Okay. Brody?
I don't mind the idea earlier, but the 10th's not really the best for me either.
Okay. Lauren, opinion?
I'll be out of town either way, so I'll have to, as long as I can call in, I can do either.
And I don't know
Either
about
time.
Jackson or Andy. What about Joy and
I'm good
Andrea?
for the 10th. I
You're
would
good
like
for
to
the
meet.
10th. Andrea?
Mhm.
I could probably make any night next week work.
Okay. So Heather, Andrea, and Joy are good. Lauren, if he could call in, would be good. Adam's not sure if he could make that. Brody could not at all. And so the question
Could
is,
there be another day? Another
we
possibility
could
maybe
do it on the
for
17th.
more
We
people?
could do it on the 17th and do it early.
That
Yeah,
one works for me.
And then we probably, if we do that, we could make it a marathon if we had to and put it on the agenda that we could reconvene afterwards if we don't feel like we completed what we wanted to talk about.
I think that would be good. And I talked with Susie about this, and she said that that would still work for the timeline, as long as we really committed,
Okay.
to roll up our sleeves on the 17th.
Okay, then it might be good just to have, maybe if there's questions that come up, Michael, or if Susie has additional thoughts or questions that she'd like input on, maybe some aspect of an email thread that comes to us, so we can start thinking about it, because sometimes we don't know what we don't know, so.
Yeah.
Michael, I was gonna say this before we had to end the conversation, but I was kind of hoping we could maybe have somebody run those density numbers of what is the average in those areas, so that we could actually see what we're seeing in maybe in those subdivisions, because I think our numbers are still too high, and I don't think we're talking the right number.
Because
Yeah,
it,
Adam, we've done that before. We've got maps that show the densities in different subdivisions, so.
but not units per acre, Bren. Not, I don't think he's asking units per acre. I think he's asking average unit size.
Yeah, average lot size, plus and minus.
Yeah, I think we have a map where we've done that, that shows
Okay.
that, yeah.
Okay.
So I'll try and find it.
Thank you. That helped me with my review so that I'm more prepared on the 17th.
It would also help a lot if the zone says it's supposed to be in between 2 and 4, and then the average unit size, the average unit size is actually 0.12. It would be a huge eye opener on something's wrong with how it's currently laid out. So, but we do need to start the meeting. We'll say goodbye to Susie. All right, I'd like to welcome everyone out to, thank you. Heather said thank you. I would like to open the meeting for Thursday, September 3rd, 2020, Planning Commission meeting. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and Wendy was so kind to offer that for us. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we do have a full quorum today. And those that will be sitting today will be Lauren, Brody, Heather, Joy, Adam, and Andrea. We do have 2 planning commissioners that are out. Are there any conflicts of interest from anyone on the planning commission with any of the items? All right, hearing none. We'll move on to item 3.4, which is approval of minutes for the August 6th, 2020 Planning Commission meeting. Is everyone muted, or are we good there? Looking for a motion on item 3.4.
I'll make a motion
Second.
to
Oh, sorry.
sorry.
You
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
okay, and that's Heather, correct?
Yes.
Okay, a motion by Heather. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, I'm only doing that because it's virtual, as I can't see if everybody said yes. All right, and then we will move on to item 4.1 and the administrative items, which is a request for a plot amendment for building 29 in Overlook at Rosecrest Phase 2 to create 2 lots. And just before that, and I turn to city staff, we do have an item on for a public hearing, which is item 5.1. And we'll turn time over to city staff on this one.
Okay. This is a plat amendment. We've done several of these. This is for a building that's a fourplex. You can see this up here in Overlook. And they are looking to divide it into 2 lots to separate 2 units basically in each of the lots. So let me show you, again, there's the zoning. You can see here's the plat and they're just dividing it. And this is the existing plat where it's all 1 lot with 4 units within it. The plat amendment will divide it into 2 lots, each one having 2 units. This will allow the applicant to sell off half the building basically as a separate unit. It is not a public hearing because this owner owns the whole building. He's the only one affected. So is there any questions of me? The applicant is also on the line.
The only question I have is when they do that, is this all under an HOA because they have attached walls?
Yes, there's an HOA.
Okay. All right. That's the only question I had. Any other questions from the Planning Commission?
No, I'm ready to make a motion.
Just because I messed up on this last time, real quick, is the applicant here and does he have anything to add?
This is David Mortensen, the surveyor. I don't have anything to add.
All right, thank you. Then I will, at this time, allow for a motion to be made.
I make a motion to approve item 3.1 with staff's 2 recommendations.
All right, motion by Adam,
I'll second. That's Brody.
a second by Brody, thank you. And we'll call for a vote.
Did you say 3.1? Was it 4.1?
4.1. If I said 3.1, I meant,
4.1. I said 3.1.
Okay.
I amended to say 4.1.
okay. Thank you, Adam.
I'll
And then we'll call for a vote. Lauren,
Yes.
Brody,
yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Joy,
Yes.
Adam,
Yes.
and Andrea.
Yes.
All right, thank you. And then we'll move on to item 4.2, which is request for a preliminary plot for a 4-lot commercial subdivision. And it does look like a public hearing was open on June 4th, 2020, so that is still open at this time, so we will do that afterwards. So turn to city staff first.
Yes, so this is, we had this on, it's been a few months ago, a couple months ago now, originally it was an 8-lot subdivision. They have since cut it in half to only come in with the one side first. So we did notice this again, since the public hearing was still open. So there will eventually be 4 lots on the west side. Right now, we're just approving the 4 lots on the east side of this future road. Again, for commercial development, again, this is all zoned commercial. We've got an application on later tonight for the lot back there in the corner. So public hearing is still open on this. And again, just the 4 lots on this side at this point. The 4 lots on the other side will come back in a few weeks.
All right, thank you, Bryn. Is the applicant here?
Yes, Larry Myler here.
All right, do you have any additional comments or information on this item?
I don't think so. Unless you have questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right, is there any questions from the Planning Commission?
I have 2.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, I would just want to make sure we're going to get sidewalk all the way around the whole property, correct?
Sidewalk is already on the east side, the Mountain View corridor side.
Yep.
And there will be sidewalk around the rest of the property, certainly the south side and the east side on Auto Drive. There may not be sidewalk on the north side because that really is the border between these commercial lots and a different use altogether, which will be auto dealerships.
I'm good with that. And then my other question was, is that a signalized intersection? I just can't remember.
Auto drive will be signalized. We've actually just come to that conclusion with Herriman City engineers and the traffic engineers. And so that is being planned and will be put in as a part of the PID funding that's happening on this this development. So yeah, and that will help quite a bit with the access to the Riverton subdivision on the south side of 126.
So Blake, this is for you. Are you guys coordinating that with UDOT so that because they're so close to the intersection, so we don't get the same thing that happened on 134th?
Yes, we will. We, oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Jonathan. Sorry.
Yes, Adam, that's the plan. We've been working with Hell's Engineering, and Hell's Engineering has put together a list of requirements, and one of those requirements is to ensure that UDOT coordinates the signal at Mountain View, the future signal here at Auto Drive, and then the signal at Main Street, so that they can control them and minimize multiple stops and things like that.
All right.
Perfect, thanks.
Thank you. And someone else had a question, I believe.
Oh, I was just curious if the applicant already had tenants for the building.
We do. Lot 1, which is the next item on your agenda for a site plan, is the garage grill. And that's been in the works for some time. And we're very excited to bring that into Herriman. There is already a garage grill in Draper. Some of you may have gone to it. It's a wonderful restaurant. Sit down, wonderful food, great atmosphere, themed race cars, actual race cars displayed. It's quite a wonderful restaurant to have in the city. We're excited.
Thank you.
So are we. All right. If there's no other questions for the applicant or no other remarks from the applicant. All right, guys. Then at this time, we will open the public hearing. We have no remarks that were mailed in at this time. And seeing no one here, at this time, we will close the public hearing as well. And then we'll turn time over to the Planning Commission if there's any additional remarks, and then we'll look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve item 4.2 with staff's 6 recommendations.
Motion by Adam,
I'll second.
a second by Heather, I believe.
Yep.
Yes? Okay. And then we'll call for a vote. Lauren?
Yes.
Brody?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Joy?
Yes.
Adam?
Yes.
And Andrea?
Yes.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to item 4.3, which is a request for a site plan review of a restaurant known as Garage Grill. And then we'll turn it over to city staff.
All right, so this is for the garage grill we were just speaking about. Let me show you where it is again on the lot. So it is kind of in that northeast corner, just adjacent to Mountain View. They've been out there grading. You've probably seen them out there working on that. This is the site plan they are looking at. So again, the building will be kind of on the Mountain View side, and then the parking on the west side. You do have all of this in your packet. I'll kind of go through it. One of the things that came up was the parking. Honestly, the parking in our ordinance is a bit excessive and we probably need to change it. We do mostly fast food restaurants, right? So we don't have to often deal with sit-down restaurants. So this is a good problem to have. Other than the parking required by the ordinance was 275 stalls, which was, again, honestly, a bit excessive. So they have submitted a parking study they had their engineer put together showing the numbers, and we're comfortable with the 112 parking stalls they are providing. The Planning Commission is able to approve that modification. That's right in the ordinance. And that's one of the conditions we put in here, if you choose to approve it, is that you're approving that parking modification. The other issue, let me get through here. Again, oh, look, I had it all right there. So there's the parking issue. the landscaping, they meet all the landscaping requirements except for they're technically required to have 20 feet adjacent to a public street, which would mean Mountain View. Similar to what we've done on other commercial entities above this, Winco and Les Schwab. There's quite a bit of right away between the actual property line and where the sidewalk and Mountain View corridor actually is. So they're asking to reduce that. At the narrowest spot, they've got about 10 feet there. They have well more than 20 feet over here. There's just a narrower spot where they're not meeting that. Again, the ordinance allows you to do a modification on that landscaping if you so choose. But they meet all the percentages as far as how much they're supposed to have. The building elevations is probably the only kind of outstanding issue. They do not meet currently they do not meet the requirement for the 60% brick or stone. You can see their materials, they're about 30% on the front of the building. Some side doesn't have any brick or stone. It is kind of a cool metal still building. You can see they've got the garage doors and stuff. But they don't technically meet that 60%. So that is something they're going to have to work on. We were comfortable having you move forward with the site plan and having the building elevations come back. That's something you guys typically don't have an issue doing as we work on this. There is really no way in the ordinance for you to give them an exception to that 60%. So we are still working with them on how they're going to be able to meet that. I think, yeah, that's all I've got. So any questions about this one?
Yeah, I got a quick question on the parking. I actually think I agree with the parking reduction, but is there something we could put in there that if 112 isn't, that they can't be parking other places, or they need to? That's the only thing I'm a little worried about is if they are low, and I'm sure they're going to park it appropriately, but I don't want to have happen what they did over at what is it? The ice cream place by Les Schwab.
Yeah.
You remember when they came in, they're like, yeah, we got it parked good enough. And then they're like, oh, never mind. We're parking all over the place. That's the thing. Is there something we could put in there because it's kind of past the point of no return if we just say yes.
There's one thing, and I assume, I don't know if Larry's still on the line, the developer, but
I am.
I assume they can have some kind of cross, they have access easements, obviously. I wonder if they'll do parking, cross parking, so the parking would be open to anybody, so whoever's next door, if it's a Starbucks, they probably would, they could allow them to park there at night or whatever. So shared parking, maybe something we'd want them to have in their agreements.
And it probably is a valid point, Larry, just because we saw what happened with the JCW. He actually bought the lot next to it because he needed more parking. So
Yeah.
it probably is a valid concern based off of how Herriman has seen some of these areas off Mountain View with the success they've seen.
Yes, we agree with that. We do have already built into our documents, our shared documents, cross easement parking. And so we will have that ability. We also have the auto mall to the north, which isn't yet planned. It's kind of a safety valve if we need it, but we don't believe we will. We've gone through the calculations with the existing garage grill as far as the number of tables, the number of patrons, the number of parking stalls. And so we feel quite confident about this, but we do have 3 properties, one to the south, one to the west, and one to the southwest, that will allow for cross easement parking, and it's already built into our governing documents for the entire project.
So if we put that in item number 7, just something that said, with a cross easement requirement, a parking requirement for the adjacent 3 lots.
That would be fine because it's actually already set in stone in our documentation that we've signed.
I would be comfortable with it. I just want to make sure we have that so we have some protection.
Okay.
And I think that also provides a very good reason why we're allowing a difference in what our ordinances say versus allowing the 112 stalls. I think that is something we need to actually say in this as well when we make the motion. Any other questions? All right, this is not.
I just had some comments.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
So looking at the landscaping plan, they had 109 feather reed grasses. And I'd personally like to see more of a variety rather than just grass. That's the only thing that they're really putting all around it besides the trees. So I'm not sure if they're interested in doing something, but the Jordan Valley Water District is offering a landscape leadership grant, which covers 50% of commercial business landscape up to 50,000. And I feel like they're already doing something that's pretty water wise. So I think that they should probably look into that, but they could give them more plant recommendations rather than just having that one grass.
That is a great idea. Thank you. I've made a note. That's Jordan Valley. What was the entity?
Yep, it's Jordan Valley Water District.
Great.
You could save a lot of money with that.
And you may be able to get a phone number from someone on the city staff, Larry.
Thank you.
Yeah, Larry, we've been, all the commercial people, when they come in, our landscape architect does a good job of recommending that grant to people and sending them to Jordan Valley. So we can get you that information.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
So Heather, would you like the landscaping plan to come back later?
Yeah, I'd like that.
And the only other question I have, and it's going to come back because it usually does, but signage. I know it's typically a separate item, but because of where it's located, obviously, I view signs as very important off of Mountain View. And so it's more of a curiosity of if they have locations of where they think they're going to put those, or if they were planning on it, or more of just the front of the building was the concept.
And
So
then
yes,
signs
signs will come back. Let me just say this quickly. Signs will come back. They are because this is all one center, they can come in with a little bit larger monument sign, nothing overly large. So they'll probably come in with I think 16 feet is what the ordinance allows, for a center like this, and then their own monument signs. But we haven't seen any of the signage yet at this point.
Okay.
I assume that includes the signs on the building
I'm
as well.
hopeful for it, just for the business. I think it's positive off of Mountain View. So, Adam, did you have a remark?
Does that include the signs on the building itself, or will that be done with the elevations that we will be seeing?
Signage on the building, you don't typically see, but we can have them show that on the building elevations if you would like to see it.
I would.
Okay. So add that to number 3. Let's see, number 3.
Yep, I'm ready to make a motion if everybody else is good.
Did we have the applicant speak on the item? Were there any additional remarks you'd like to make?
Larry Myler here. Yeah, I think we've got some good suggestions going. The way the stats work on the parking, just so you know, we'd have to do probably around 250% more business here than in Draper to max out on the parking that's being proposed. So that shouldn't be an issue.
We'll try our best. We'll try our best, Larry.
Yeah, that would be a good problem to have for sure.
Exactly. All right, then if there's no other remarks, we'll turn to the Planning Commission for a motion.
I'll make a motion for item 4.3. I think that's the number I'm on. With staff's 12 recommendations with an alteration to number 3, that the building elevations will come back to Planning Commission, including color boards and sign location. And an alteration to number 7 to due to the fact that we're reducing the parking, to add the statement that they need to provide cross easement parking for the adjacent 3 lots. And an alteration to number 5, that the landscape plan will come back to Planning Commission as well.
All right, motion was made by Adam.
I'll second.
I'll second.
I'll give the second to Lauren because I think he squeaked in there just barely.
Squeak.
All right, we'll call for a vote on this item. Lauren,
Yes.
Brody,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Joy,
Yes.
Adam,
Yes, sorry, I forgot to hit unmute.
and Andrea.
Yes.
All right, thank you guys. And thank you so much, Larry.
Thank you. We look forward to many more great projects coming in here.
Hey, it's the only restaurant I've ever gone to that can have sushi and everything else on the menu and be awesome. So
It
I'm
is
looking
awesome.
forward to it.
Great. Thank you.
So item 5.1, which is a legislative item, which is a recommendation to the city council. There's a request for a text change to the M1 manufacturing zone to add personal instruction services as a permitted use. And this is on for a public hearing. And we'll turn it to city staff for remarks.
All right, so I think we've talked about this a couple times over the last couple of months, but the applicant, which is Scenic Development, is asking to add, like you said, personal instruction to the M1 zone. This is a legislative decision, so you will have a hearing, make a recommendation to the city council. Personal instruction service, you see it here, the definition. This definition is already in the ordinance, but I'm just showing it to you so you understand what you're adding. Again, this is an establishment that's for informational, instructional, or similar services, typically music schools, gymnastics, dance, martial arts, that kind of thing. So the text change they're proposing is pretty simple. It's basically this. It's adding a P in this column right here in the land use table, making it a permitted use in the M1 zone.
Is that due to the fact that they're already doing it?
This is due to the fact because they have some, and the applicant's on the line, so he can talk to that. We have a dance studio that's asking to come in now. And so they'd like to add this use for that dance studio.
Isn't it already there? I thought on our field trip we saw it.
The dance studio, they've started construction, I believe, but the dance studio is not open yet, no.
Maybe I'm thinking the gymnastics studio over by DBAT, which is still the same kind of thing, right?
Yeah, that's what it.
There is a gymnastics studio there. The dance studio is currently under construction in that same facility.
This is Mike, and that's clearly is one of the reasons why they're asking for this. I mean, if you look at what we currently allow in the M1 zone, it's kind of hard to say what's different between an indoor-outdoor recreation facility and a dance studio. So, yeah, I think the proposal is reasonable. What we've also said is that we probably need to work on this larger issue of where maybe should we create maybe an M2 zone and maybe move our true manufacturing facilities to a more intense zone. Or maybe we need to create a new type of zone that is kind of more for these flex spaces that are so popular right now. I think this is a reasonable kind of solution for right now. But we all recognize that we've got some bigger issues that we're going to need to address down the road.
No,
Yeah.
I agree. I just noticed it because it made me think of like when my kids go to karate, or what I saw happening when we were standing out there is the drop off, the lack of availability for drop off is just my only concern. And I still think we should proceed forward with this, honestly, from my perspective, but I think we need to address how to handle that drop off, lack of enough parking when you're dropping off, maybe painting it appropriately or striping it appropriately to handle that. But I think it's a problem that's still present. And then you start getting into like where my kids go to karate, the guy next to them is putting up signs that says you can't park here, and then you don't know where to drop your kids off. And so I think it becomes a safety hazard that we need to address holistically. But I think this isn't necessarily the time to fix it.
And I understand what you're saying, because if you look at It's Small Wonders next to I think it's Pizza Hut. That's located down here behind Arctic Circle area. They do a drop off, and I know they now have them drive around back and drop them off, and then keep going all the way around the back. And so that's the drop off and pickup area now. And so I don't know if it seems to work fairly well, but also there's a gym in Daybreak at Soda Row that does the same thing. People get dropped off at the front door, and then they drive around back to pick them up. And so I'm not saying it's the best solution, but these type of um, areas tend to have the ability to have a back door, front door, that they can do stuff like that. And sometimes they even have the big garage doors in the back. So there may be a way to design the roads to where that's a little bit easier to accommodate for. It might be something that the planning staff can just talk to some of the builders as they come through, because these seem to be used for that more and more often.
Yeah, that was my main concern about this, is just safety. If we, require, if it's personal instruction, that they make some kind of modification to parking so that it's allows for the flow, and so kids aren't crossing where we might have a large, truck. Someone else is using that flex space for manufacturing, right? Just safety is my big concern too.
And that's actually what you saw. I don't know if you guys saw when we were leaving the gymnastics. You saw the little girl trying to get across the street because there's nobody close by to drop her off. And I think we need to address that. Again, I don't know that this is the spot, I think, going into the ordinance itself.
No,
But I do.
I don't think it changes anything, does it, Adam, with at least this item?
No, I think related to this, it's not, but I think we need to address it in C1, C2, and M1.
Yeah. I do think as well, Michael, and that might be something, especially as we talk about potentially adding another zone, that I think these flex spaces need to be a little more accommodating for being a flex space. Because right now, I know, and I've gone to tons of gymnastics meets that are held in these type of facilities. They are not accommodating at all whatsoever. You have people parking 3 blocks away and walking across all the streets and all the different areas. And because during those times, you don't have just the normal 50 kids that are inside, you have 300 kids inside. And so it's a big difference on what occurs, and people are coming and going all day long. And so that is one issue that does occur with these flex spaces.
Yeah.
My daughter participates at Tiffany's dance company, and it's not flex space, it's kind of office, so to speak. And there's not a good flow of traffic, right? Everybody has to go in, turn around, and come back out. And that's kind of what I would like to address. If there's some personal instruction that, yeah, it's not.
How many parking stalls are required for these type of flex spaces, Michael?
Well, it's actually based on the use. So we'd have to look and see what it is for, this type of land use. And I don't know. I'd have to take a look at that.
Because I'm wondering if it may not be accommodating enough for some of these areas, or maybe it's just needing a better drop off and pickup area or something.
Or the risk could be that if we permit it, then you can have so many of these right next to each other that you change that whole complex's ability to traffic flow, which I think would be almost too late at that time.
And right now, I mean, we saw at least 2 of them that were located side by side, the 2 gymnastics type facilities. And if you put another dance one next to it, you're talking about pick up and drop off probably every couple minutes throughout the day. And it could come in spurts of probably as many as 20 to 30 kids each time. So it could get a little hectic, a little crazy.
So Chris, the ordinance requires 1 space per 250 square feet plus 1 space for each employee. So that's what the ordinance requires. Then you may also, the applicant is on the line, so maybe we want to talk to him and see if he has
Oh,
anything to add.
absolutely, absolutely. But another question, like 250 square feet, that's more or less like a dance floor, right? Am I looking at that about right? So you're talking about potentially 30 or 40 kids dancing maybe? So it's just, and you're requiring one parking spot for that. Am I missing something, or does that sound about right?
Yeah, I don't know if that sounds, I don't know how big the dance floor is. I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
But the applicant probably let us know how big the buildings are.
sure, sure. All right. Any other comments or questions for staff before we have the applicant jump on? All right. If the applicant's here, maybe just share any additional information and maybe educate us a little bit.
Yeah, so my name is Braden Renlisbacher. Brent outlined it. I don't have a ton to add to what she has already said. We're just looking to add that in conjunction with kind of what Michael was saying as well, how there's kind of, how do you decipher between indoor outdoor recreation and personal instruction? So with the DBAT, it's baseball, softball training, and there's still kind of that mix of personal instruction as well. And we feel like this would be a good fit there for Lifehouse Dance Studio. The tenant's name is Nisha, and she currently has her building down in Saratoga Springs, and another building in Salem. And I think she came to you guys first and then was referred to us, but would like to she's excited to be in Herriman and have her business in your city.
All right. Thank you, Braden. Any questions for the applicant?
I guess we discussed, is there any modifications they're making for the pickup, or is it just going to be however the parking lot's designed as is?
If there's requirements that you're requiring there, we have the building designed to where the parking lot wraps all the way around the building. So you guys had talked about having a drop off in front, pick up in back there. We'd be willing to work and do whatever makes sense there to accommodate that.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions for the applicant?
Nope, I don't have any.
All right, guys, this is on for a public hearing, so we will open the public hearing at this time. Wendy, were there any comments on this one? All right, there were no comments on this item, and there's no one here to make any public statements, so we will close the public hearing and turn it over to the Planning Commission.
So like I said, I have no problem with the way it is, but how quickly can we adjust that? Because I do think the drop off is going to become a problem quickly. And I don't think we can put a requirement on this for the permitted use, but I do think it's something we need to look at from a safety perspective, staff. So what could we do? What do you guys recommend? Is it better continuing this? If we can figure out how to change that ordinance. To me, I don't know that that's really the case. But
yeah, I'm not sure that I mean, the easiest thing to probably do is recommended that it be a conditional use.
And that's how I was looking at it. I noticed that the recreation and entertainment, indoor and outdoor, are both conditional uses.
Mm-hmm.
While they're asking for this to be permitted,
right.
and to be honest, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be allowed. But if it's a conditional, then we can at least put a condition on it that if there's a complaint with traffic, then we have to moderate or modify the traffic flow or find a solution for it, or have pickup drop off in the back, or, I mean, there
well,
could
if it's
be.
conditional, they'll have to bring in the plan, correct, Bryn?
Correct.
And ask for it.
Exactly.
I like the idea of it going conditional.
Then.
Yeah.
I like conditional because then we have an opportunity to address these types of things on an individual basis.
I agree, Brody.
All right. Oh, well, my only recommendation, Brody and Adam, is if you recommend to the city council that it's conditional, just state why. Mainly worrying about the traffic flow, wanting to make sure that they have a solution based off of, because I know some of these spaces aren't super wide, and with one parking stall per 250 square feet. I mean, if it's 1,000 square feet and they have 2 employees, that's only 6 stalls. And so, I mean, you're talking about a lot of kids that will fit in on a dance floor or whatever, that's 1,000 square feet, and there's 6 stalls total for parking. And so, I do think a conditional use would make sense, but we probably want to put in it so it's relayed to the city council why.
Right.
I totally agree.
Yeah, so I'd like to make a recommendation on item 5.1, request for tax change of M1 manufacturing zone to add personal instruction services. My recommendation is to have it be a conditional use. And my recommendation also to city council is to have them look at traffic flow and number of parking stalls when, I guess, looking through these conditional uses.
I'll second it.
All right, thank you, Brody, and a second by Adam. And we'll call for a vote. Lauren,
Yes.
Brody,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Joy,
Yes.
Adam,
Yes.
and Andrea. Thank you. And that's the last item. I guess the only question I should have asked during it, but I didn't, was do we know what the square footage of this unit is?
It is 6,000 square feet.
Okay. So
That
that's
was one thing
20,
I was gonna ask
20,
here.
24 parking spots, plus that are employees. So maybe 26 to 20, or maybe 30. Somewhere in there, I'm guessing, is about where they're at. Okay. All right, then are there any other comments from the Planning Commission?
I would just like, this is Adam, I'd just like to have maybe the engineering staff look at, I'll be honest, I think that parking may be heavy at times and light at times, and so I think we do need to address that kind of requirements for what is necessary for drop-off, so that way as these come in, because it sounds like if this goes to council, and I'm sure they'll support our decision because it's a safety issue, we'll be looking at this quickly, and so we kind of need some idea of what you would expect for drop-off safety.
Yeah, I will tell you, Small Wonders does the pickup and drop off behind the building. And so they literally just drive through, drop them off, and when it's time to pick them up, they drive through and pick them up. It works really well. They still have some individuals that park out front, but obviously they actually have less parking than what these guys will have. So.
Correct. So it's just something I think staff needs to look into, is all I'm trying to say.
Okay. Any other comments from the Planning Commission? All right, then, future meetings, Wednesday, September 9th, the City Council meeting. Wednesday, September 16th will be another City Council meeting. And then Thursday, September 17th is the Planning Commission meeting. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we're done with the meeting, and thank you so much, guys.
Yeah.